It's a Tuesday afternoon. You're in a conference room that smells like dry clean suits and stale coffee. The meeting is about the new product launch. The slides are optimistic. The deadline is aggressive. And you know it doesn't add up. A part of you wants to say something, but your mouth doesn't open. Your chest feels tight. Your brain screams at you to stay quiet. The obvious explanation is fear of embarrassing yourself or angering your boss. But the real answer is far stranger. The real answer dates back over 100,000 years. For most of human history, your ancestors lived in small nomadic bands. They survived by sticking together. To be cast out of the group was a death sentence. No protection from predators, no sharing of food, no knowledge of where to find water. Exile meant you would die alone, so your brain built a powerful alarm system to prevent that. It learned to fear any action that might lead to social rejection, including telling the truth when the truth challenged the group. Now fast forward to your meeting room. The stakes are a quarterly target, not starvation. But your brain cannot tell the difference. It still scans the group for threats to your belonging. And when you consider pointing out a fatal flaw in the plan, your brain floods with dread. It whispers that if you say this, they might expel you. And your body obeys. This is not just a metaphor. There is hard science behind it. A neuroscientist named Naomi Eisenberger wanted to understand how social pain works in the brain. She designed an experiment. Participants played a virtual ball-tossing game while in an fMRI scanner. After a few rounds, the other players started excluding them. Their brains lit up. Specifically, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. Those are the same regions that ignite when you stub your toe or touch a hot stove. Social rejection and physical pain share a neural pathway. Your brain treats being ostracized like being burned. So why does a group reject truth-tellers? In the 1950s, a psychologist named Solomon Asch ran a classic experiment. He gathered participants and showed them lines of different lengths. They had to say which line matched a reference line. The answer was obvious, but in each group, all but one person were Confederates instructed to give the wrong answer. The lone real participant faced a choice: trust their own eyes, or conform to the group. Roughly 75% of people conformed at least once. When interviewed, they said they didn't want to be the odd one out. They felt a deep unease at the thought of standing alone. That same unease haunts you in meetings. Companies are modern tribes. Your team is your band. Your boss is the de facto chief. The corporate culture is the shared belief system that holds everyone together. When you speak up about a flaw, you are not just giving constructive feedback. You are challenging the tribe's accepted reality, and tribes do not like that. What happens when someone challenges a corporate tribe's reality? They become the target of an immune response. The group may ignore them. They may be labeled difficult. Their career stalls. They get excluded from important discussions. Eventually, they leave or are pushed out. This is not hyperbole. Real whistleblowers have faced exactly that fate. Take Enron. Sharon Watkins was a vice president. In 2001, she wrote a letter to the CEO. She warned that the company's accounting practices were fraudulent. She thought she was helping. Instead, she was ignored. And when the scandal broke, she became a pariah. Her career never fully recovered. Or take Cynthia Cooper at WorldCom. She was an internal auditor. She uncovered a $3.8 billion fraud. She tried to bring it to light. She faced intense hostility from colleagues. She later described the experience as isolating and terrifying. The Space Shuttle Challenger disaster is another tragic example. In 1986, the night before launch, engineers warned managers about O-ring failures in cold weather. They had data. They argued with urgency. But the pressure to launch was immense. Managers overruled them. The shuttle exploded 73 seconds after liftoff. 7 astronauts died. The investigating commission found that the engineers' warnings had been sidelined by a culture of hierarchy. The truth was sacrificed to group consensus. These aren't just stories of bad leadership. They are stories of an ancient instinct playing out in modern institutions. The instinct to protect the group's narrative at any cost. Psychologist Irving Yanis gave this pattern a name. In the 1970s, he studied foreign policy fiascos like the Bay of Pigs invasion. He found that cohesive groups often fall into what he called groupthink. Groupthink occurs when a team values harmony and conformity over realistic appraisal of alternatives. Dissenters are quickly marginalized. Members self-censor. The group marches toward disaster, united in its blind spot. Yanis's research explains why even smart, well-intentioned people stay silent. But here's the twist. Companies today claim to celebrate transparency and speaking up. They put posters on the wall. They hold town halls. They hire consultants. But the ancient brain does not deal in posters. It deals in signals. It watches for the subtle cues that your tribe might reject you. The way your manager's eyes drift away when you mention a risk. The slight pause before someone replies to your email questioning a budget number. The moment you're not copied on a meeting invite you used to receive. Each one is a small sting of exclusion, and your brain registers it as a threat. Researchers Elizabeth Morrison and Francis Millikan documented this in the concept of organizational silence. Their work found that workplaces often create a climate where employees fear speaking up, even when leaders say they want honesty, because the real culture is in the unwritten rules, the unspoken understanding that to keep your place, you must also keep the peace. The fragile equilibrium of the group depends on it. And so the truth becomes a liability. Your career becomes a tightrope. Telling the truth can feel like a career death sentence because, in the tribal logic of your brain, it is a death sentence. You are not just risking a bad performance review. You are risking your very belonging. And belonging is the deepest human need. It's the need that kept your ancestors alive. It's the need that still shapes every minute of your work life. So what do you do with this knowledge? The first step is recognition. The next time you're in a meeting and your throat tightens, name the sensation. Say to yourself that this is your ancient brain trying to protect you from exile. Understand that the fear is real, but the danger is not fatal. Your company is not the savannah. Losing your job is not death. That perspective can loosen the grip, give you a second of pause to decide whether the truth is worth the risk. And sometimes it still won't be. But other times you might realize that your warning could save the tribe from a larger catastrophe. Then the real work begins. How do you tell the truth without triggering the tribe's immune response? Some researchers suggest framing the truth as a way to protect the group's deeper goals, not attacking the consensus, but reinforcing the mission. For example, instead of saying this deadline is impossible, you might ask, what if we adjusted the timeline to deliver a product we're truly proud of? The content is the same, but the packaging aligns with the tribe's identity. It's a way of speaking that reassures the group that you are still one of them. But no tactic can eliminate the danger altogether. The truth will always carry risk, because you are dealing with human brains that are wired for survival, not for accuracy. That is the fragile equilibrium of your work life. You are constantly balancing your need to belong with your ability to see clearly. Your ancestors faced the same dilemma around a fire on the open plains. The difference is that today, the fire is a conference table and the threat is a quarterly earnings call, but the stakes still feel as high. And in a way, they are. Your place in the tribe determines your access to resources, just as it did then. Promotions, salary, influence. Those are the modern equivalents of food and shelter. So your brain's obsession with belonging is not outdated. It's just stuck on an older script. That knot in your stomach is a remnant of that script. The next time it surfaces, you have a choice. You can accept it as a fact of your wiring. And then you can decide whether to let it silence you, or to speak with the courage of someone who understands exactly why it's so hard. That understanding alone doesn't make telling the truth safe, but it makes you less alone in the struggle. Perhaps the next time you're in that conference room, the ancient silence will be just a little bit quieter.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. There's much more to discover.